This is a gentleman who many of you know, and if you don't, you need to get to know him. And when I hear his story, and I'll tell you, the very first time I heard his story, I was blown away by it. And it's one of those stories that made me think, man, if I ever complain about anything again in my life, I have no reason to do that, because this guy has overcome more, has been through more, has literally risked his life to come to America and come from absolutely less than nothing to one of the most successful people in this industry. Give it up for my friend, my coaching client, one of my favorite people in the world, Mr. Doan.
Come on, guys, get up, let's go! First of all, did we, Club Wealth, rock you today? I'm just happy to use my most current picture, because some of you guys might know from the last event, my business partner Mike sitting here did submit this picture. Too bad we didn't have his picture to put up. But, so, Michael wanted me to tell my story today, and then the rule is if you're a speaker on the main stage, you have to submit your presentation at least 30 days before. And I know Audrey and Megan keep on my case about where is the presentation. Well, a lot of you guys who know me here actually have heard my story, but today is the first time, probably world premiere, that I'm going to detail from the beginning to where I'm at today. So it was really hard for me to come up with a presentation because, you know, you're digging deep, you're trying to remember the details, and then you want to make sure that you didn't miss anything. So this is my story. I'm going to share it, and I hope at the end that you guys will get something to take away, okay? So this picture right here, I want you guys to remember, and I'm going to circle back later. This is an awesome resort, and it's on my bucket list for me to take my wife to sometime soon. So Mike got to do a better job to make us more money so I can do that sooner than later. No pressure. So it's a pretty awesome place. I was checking it out. I'm like, that's where I want to go. Well, I'm originally from Vietnam. And most of you guys know the Vietnam War, right? So that's where I came from. But before this all started, my grandpa, who used to live in North Vietnam, because Vietnam got North and the South Vietnam. So he was pretty much exiled from the North to the South because he was promoting democracy and human rights. So he left to go into the South in the 30s or 40s, and he took all of my dad and all the brothers, which would be my uncles, into Saigon, which is the South. So in most third world countries, you can buy anything, including new identities. So when they moved in, all of our second-born son, or any son, period, or second-born, if it's not a son, a daughter, middle name is Doan, D-O. That's actually our real last name. But my grandpa had a friend in Saigon, and he has to assume new identity, so the person's name was Doan, D-O-A-N, so that's who we are now, is Doan. So it's a story that we tell all of our kids. But the cool thing now is all of my uncles and my dad have two birthdays. So they have the real birthday and then the other real birthday. So then every time we do a birthday celebration, like, well, which one is it? Is it the real one or the other real one? So then we give up. So they all have two birthdays every year. He was the last, you can see this, all right, so now you know. He was the last generation that practiced polygamy. He's my hero. Apparently in America, it's not good. So, he had 5 wives. And, I mean, that's a lot of work, right? You all have buy agent and sell agent under you, so that's a lot of work to keep everybody happy at home, enough leads and all this other stuff. But I don't know how he did it, but he did it. So I have uncles who are younger than me. It's It's a weird thing when you have 5 wives. Talk about that. So both of my parents got their scholarship to Florida State University. And my dad came back with a PhD, and my mom came back with a master's degree. So when my dad left, my mom was pregnant with me, so she couldn't go. So then we waited until I was born, and then 11 months old, my mom brought me to America. So that's where they went to school down Florida State University. So that's why I came to the U.S. the first time. A lot of people didn't know this. And when I came back, after I lived here, I was 4 years old. And the weird thing was, I couldn't speak Vietnamese. I came back and all I knew was English. So then all my friends would come and ask my mom and dad, what is he saying? You know, what is he talking about? Now I can barely speak English. So we came back because they finished their degrees, and my mom was pregnant with my second brother, who was 7 months old. But she wanted to make sure he was a Vietnamese citizen and not a U.S. citizen, so he wanted him to be born here. So we all went back to Vietnam. But this is my picture when I was with my mom, when I was younger, of 4 years old, 3 and a half. Thank you. So this is, as you think it's pretty cool, it was really hard for me to find this picture, because I'll tell you my story a little bit, is that we didn't have a lot of stuff from the past that we could find anymore. Okay? So my dad came back, and he was a vice chancellor of a major university. So he's pretty smart. He speaks like 6 languages. And like my grandpa, he wanted to more prosper Vietnam, so he's big on making sure that, you know, he can help the country out. He's also a big believer in nonviolence. So he believed that you can make changes, you know, without violence. And like Martin Luther King, all this other stuff was his mentor. But one of them, if you guys read any history book back in Vietnam War, there was a burning monk. You guys who study history might know, right? I'm going to show that picture so you know. This one. That's one of his mentors. Because the monk was protesting the war because he believed in nonviolence. So that was one of my parents' mentors. But anyways, I had 2 younger brothers. My mom kept wanting a girl, so we kept trying. Not we, my mom and my dad. So the funny one was my youngest brother now, number 3. His name is Tiger. And my dad used to sell to my mom that he was reading Playboy and all this stuff because he was trying to project a girl for my mom. That's what she said. That story I heard later that, yeah, your dad was looking at, you know, women picture all the time. He said, I was trying to get a girl for us. Apparently didn't work. But my 3rd brother, so a 4th son, was born during the Vietnam War. And he was, you know, he got sick. And he died during the war, so I barely knew him. You know, he didn't make past like 3 months old. So we kind of remember him, but we don't. But anyway, during that time in 1975, a lot of people left Vietnam. You study, you see people jumping off and onto the boat, hanging onto the plane, going out. About 130,000 people was taken out if you work for the government or you have high tide. So because most countries, except the United States, professors and teachers are like the highest paid job and the most important, right? So we're up there. So we were actually had a helicopter that came to the roof of our house to take my parents and us 3 brothers away to go to America. But my dad convinced my mom to stay because he said, I don't care what's happening, let's stay and help the country out, even though I don't believe in communism. So we stayed. Well, in communist country, there's this thing called re-education camp. Not like mastermind and learning here, re-education camp. Okay? Not the nice lunches we had and everyone hanging out. But what happened during that time is about 300,000 people were arrested into a re-education camp. If you can think for yourself, doctor, attorney, professor, you know, whatever you do, and you're a threat, musician, artist, they arrest you, they put you in re-education camp. And my dad was one of those. He was a professor. Well, people who are in re-education camp just don't go to school. They get tortured, starvation, disease, hard labor. I was 8 years old at the time, and I didn't see my dad again until I was 32. Okay, my two younger brothers was 4 and 2. The day happened was about 5 a.m. in the morning. We were all sleeping, and all of a sudden, I remember all this ruckus and all the noise, and all this stranger come to our house. And then I woke up, and my dad was in handcuffs. And I'm only 8, so I didn't know anything. So I went over, sat by my dad, and told him my two brothers. My dad said, everything's going to be okay, no problem. So they went through our entire house, looked for whatever they looked for, they couldn't find anything. And that went on for about 3-4 hours. This is what my dad did. So because they have so many people in a confined space, that you have to sleep like that, like the sardines house, what they call it. So the feet and the head, right? And that was my dad who did that for 20-some years. So prison life in Vietnam is nothing like here. Here you can get an education, go work out, get in shape, a lot of tattoos, so when you come out you got a lot of cool tattoos. Nothing like that there. The family actually has to feed the prisoner, because the prison will give you just enough food to survive. Rice, water, that's about it. So about once a month we were allowed to come and visit my dad. And we were young at the time. So we bring enough food to feed him, but of course my dad being who he is, a bunch of other people didn't have people to bring food. So he always asked you to bring extra food and then money, because then you can buy food. So that's what we did for quite a while. But my dad being who he is, he will write articles about democracy and human rights which get published out to America and everywhere else. So they kept moving him to different, farther and farther away, because he used to be like half an hour from where we live in Saigon. By the time they were done, he was over Laos border, which is way, way far away. And just to give you guys an idea, it's not that easy to jump on a car and drive somewhere there. The transportation system back then is not that good. So by the time he was moved farther away, it would take us 3 days to get to him. We'd take a taxi somewhere, walk a bunch of way, ox cart, just a lot of different ways, and we're hauling stuff. Okay, so me and my two younger brothers, we were about 10 around that time, 11, my mom, that's it. Every now and then my uncle, who's my dad's younger brother, would come with us to help out. I remember one time we walked, I don't know how, Club Wealth did a trip after us too, but Mike and I also did another one to Havasu Falls. And we hiked 10 miles in and 10 miles out. That was like cakewalking, that I remember, because we're walking in mud, it was like just hauling stuff. It was pretty crazy. But here's the map of Vietnam. So you got the North Vietnam and the South Vietnam, and the U.S. was on the south side, and that's where my grandpa used to live in the north when we moved down here. So we ended up living here in Saigon, which is the south. This will make sense for you when I come back to it. So during that time in the 80s, late 70s and early 80s, Vietnam was called rationed period. Everything was rationed. Because my mom had to work 2 jobs, my dad was not around. My grandma and grandpa lived with us because the oldest son in the culture, you have your parents with you. So I became the man of the house from the age of 8 to 13 until I left. So every day after school, I would go line up in long lines, 2-3 hours. On Monday, we would get our ration of rice, or the number of head count we have in the family. On Tuesday, we get a ration of meat, protein, if you want to call it that, very little. Wednesday might be detergent. So it goes on every day that I would come back from school, go line up for 2-3 hours to get the stuff for my family. Even if you have money, you couldn't buy it. I remember when my mom came back here to America when I sponsored her, and this is master's degree, lived in America, but because she was there so long, she forgot that when we went to the grocery store for the first time, she started bawling. I said, Mom, what's wrong? We can buy all this stuff? I said, yes, you got money, you can buy it. You mean like meat, all this other stuff, eggs, anything you want? Yes. That's how crazy it was. because there's a voucher system. So we have to show up with the voucher to show we have this many people in our family, and this is how much we're going to get. Okay? And then the crazy thing was, this is why you can, I would recommend not going to be a socialist country. So the government will get richer all the time, and they control everything. And anytime they feel like they don't have control again, they will change stuff. So one of the craziest stuff that I lived through, 3 of them, is the money exchange. So what happened is, you don't know when, anytime they feel the balance is out, they will give you 24-hour notice to say, tomorrow, all the money's changing. All your old money come in, you get a voucher system, how many head count in your family, this is how much you're going to get. That's it. So if you've done a really hard work here, and you build up your wealth, and you've been saving, forget it. Because the night before is pandemonium. What happened is, we each get 2,000 as a head count. A family of 7 would be 14,000. So if you had more than 14,000, might as well just burn it. This is worth nothing, right? You trade 2,000, 2,000. So the night before, everyone goes out and buy and sell everything they have. A chicken that used to be $10 is now $1,000 and someone's buying it. And that was their way to get everybody to be equal. Okay, that was the idea. TV shows. God, when I came over here, that's like the awesome thing in America. There were so many channels. Back then, MTV just started. I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So I came over, and that was probably the biggest adjustment for me, because back there we had 3 channels that was on for an hour twice a week. And there were, propaganda stuff. So all those options you have here actually was almost too much. So during that time, because they ration everything, they also limit, because of the resources, electricity and water. So 3 days a week, no water. 3 days a week, no electricity. So you just got to figure out, and you live with it. No freedom of expression. Okay? I know that whatever side you're on, people criticizing whoever, there, you better not say one bad thing about the president or the government. You are, as we learned here, because I knew a friend who was a farmer, that said that when you take a walk on a dog for a walk, it may not come back. Those who are farmers, I know the joke more than I do. But same here. You get invited in for a meeting, and you're probably not going to be seen anymore. So that's just how it works. So there was no future for me, really. So back in that time, there's this thing called the boat people. And again, if you guys study history or look it up, about 2 million people left Vietnam after the fall of Saigon. Yeah, 2 million people. The picture I showed earlier, because we're a coastal country, most people went by water. So it's the boat people. If I do this exercise right now, and I don't want to stop because I want to keep going, is that most of the boats were river fishing boats. Because we have this river that runs across a couple of Asian countries called the Mekong River. So what happened is, you would get to take a fishing boat, which I will show you a picture in a second here, and you will build a secret compartment underneath. And you will smuggle people. So we would fish down the Mekong River, and then we got international water, and you would hope someone picks you up. So the survival rate was less than 50%. If you look to a person to your left or your right, only one of you is going to make it. And that was the chance my mom took on me. Took me 3 tries. The very first try, my mom took herself and us 3, my 2 brothers. We were at the waiting checkpoint, and my mom chickened out. She's like, this is crazy, all your eggs in one basket, right? My dad doesn't even know. My grandpa doesn't know. Only my grandma knows. So she said, my younger brother, his name is Hugh, said, hey, Hugh's sick, so we're not going to go. So we all left and went home. When we found out later, that group made it to America. That would have been awesome. We could have been all together. Didn't happen. The second try, my mom got me on the boat, along with my uncle, who's a brother, who's a mechanic. So because he's a mechanic, he gets on the boat for free, and he gets to bring one person. So I got to go on that one with him. Okay? That time, we got caught. Now, it costs a lot of money, and by the way, if you don't know right now, it's about 10,000 Vietnamese dollars to $1 US. So you have to pay 2,000 US dollar up front, or 5,000 after if you make it. Because that's like gambling, right? You just pay a little bit in like a down payment, and then when you get to America, you get the rest. But most people paid in gold, because the money exchange thing, as soon as you get money, you go buy jewelry or gold, because that's the only thing consistently you can go sell again and get money back. So, less than 50% chance of survival. So this is the Mekong River, and this is Vietnam, and I live right here. So I would have to make this checkpoint here, and then we will go out. Okay? So, when we got caught, we had already planned what the plan would be. Because during that time, we were at war with the Chinese. So if you're 16 or older, male, as soon as you get caught, you get sent to the front line, and it's like death sentence. Because you go up there, you become what they call the ammunition boy. You have no gun, you can't fight, you're just literally running around until someone shoots you. Okay, so that was the death sentence. We got caught, and this is what it looked like. So I remember 2 days of just hot, humid, because in the summer, that we were out there, and they're constantly teasing us. Yeah, the Americans coming, they're coming to pick you up. So this was, my experience when I got caught. But because I was only 13 at the time, I was released to go home, whereas when we got caught, my uncle aborted the ship and left me, because that was the plan. We knew that would happen. Well, the day I left is the day my life changed forever. My two brothers were sent to do a sleepover with my cousin. It was a school night. Anybody from the Asian culture knows that's like school night. Nothing happens in school night. Well, my both brothers got to go sleep over. I'm like, oh, this is kind of weird. Well, because they don't tell you. Because if they tell me, I'm a kid. I'm going to tell my friends, right? And the whole operation is messed up. Now, my mom made me my favorite meal, barbecue pork. Oh, this is kind of cool. I don't have my brother here to fight with. I get to eat all this stuff. She kept telling me to eat more and more and more. I'm kind of getting it. And then both my mom and my grandma spent time with me at night before I go to bed. Because in Asian culture, too, we're not really show affection like that. So they spend time with me all night before I go to bed. All right, something's up, but okay. And then they woke me up at 3 a.m. And I knew it was go time. And when I was back there waiting for Michael to introduce me, I felt a little nervousness that coming up in front of you, and it kind of reminded me of that. I'm like, oop, it's go time. So my grandma told me she loved me very much, which is weird because we don't say that a lot, it's just our culture. And then sent me off. So my mom took me by bicycle. I sat in the back, she sat in the front, bicycle up to meet a strange man. I was only 13 at the time, and I'm real little. I go through growth spurt. I'm probably one of the taller Asian guys around. And I was like this tall maybe. So I met a guy, and then remember she telling me, hey, be brave, and she said goodbye to me. Well, at the time, my third try, so I'm thinking, all right, Mom, I'll see you in a couple of days. I was caught the last time, the time before that, nothing happened. So I left with this man on a moped, which again, you see any, thing from Asia, it's like moped and bicycle everywhere. So that was normal. But we're taken to a remote safe house. And there is when I met up, and I was the 9th person to come. 8 other people were there. And we waited, still dark out, it's about an hour from the city. And we all said, okay, time to go. And we walked through rice paddies. So I'm from Vietnam, Saigon, which is a normal building. So you see Vietnam War, you think it's all rice paddy. I've never even been to a rice paddy until then. So I'm fighting through these, and I'm little, so I'm literally up to my chest, or even sometimes my neck, on mud, right? I'm fighting through it. So I know I went at least 45 minutes to an hour. We walked through it to where the river was, and there's a smaller boat. So the smaller bus took us to the bigger boat. But the small boat barely fit 9 of us. Take us to the bigger boat. Well, this was the smaller boat, but some people, this is their big boat. Okay? These are river fishing boats. We were the last group to arrive in the big boat. And I remember we went down. I want to show a picture. That's what it looked like. A secret compartment. I was 153 people, about the size of the stage. Maybe a little bit smaller. So I was one of the last group to arrive, and I went down there, and I'm like, let's see where this goes. I'm still processing it, but I don't think it's hitting me yet. Well, the big escape plan is you would fish down the Mekong River for a couple of days, and every time you go through a checkpoint, you would bribe the Coast Guard to let you go past. But there's no guarantee, because sometimes they'll take the money and they'll turn you in. So every now and then, by the way, because I'm downstairs, it's dark by the time they shut that. I don't know how long it was I was down there. I know every now and then, we'd hear one of these. Everybody gets quiet. Now, there were a few families with younger kids. They were literally been told to prepare to suffocate the kids and not make noise. Okay, so I remember someone put a hand on one of the kids I can see from where I was sitting at. So the plan then is, if we make it past that, we get out to international water. So international water then, you would float until someone picks you up. That's a big escape plan. So what happened in international water, you would see pictures like this. So we all goes on top now. Okay, so we finally made it. And again, I didn't know until later when someone told me because I was down there for so long. But it was 3 days. Just imagine, I'm going to give you guys a way to think. You guys ever gone to outdoor activity and go to one of those satellite toilet? Hasn't been changed in a while. Imagine being in there for 3 days and people throwing up on you, pooping all over the place because of tough water. So when we went up here, I was the last one to come up. And I remember when I came up, I remember going, oh my God, this is so awesome. I thought I went from hell to heaven. But that fresh air, you guys, is like crazy. You take for granted, but it's like, I breathed and I was just ecstatic, looking around, and all of a sudden, everyone was somber. What's going on? We should all be happy. Well, it hit me, because it all hit them. That we look around, we see no land. We're only just past the easy part. So if you get caught, at least you'll be alive. Because during the 1980s, the economy was really bad. And all the fishermen surrounding the country turned pirates. And they know when we leave, we can't bring money. So we convert everything to jewelries and golds we bring them with. And we know we're a little river fishing boat. So they would find us, river fishing boat, get on, take all the gold, jewelry, rape the women, and sink the boat. And by sinking the boat, that's a mercy thing. Otherwise, you just float until you die. Because they take your gas, they pretty much took everything. So our goal then is we just float until someone picks us up and hope we run into the good ship and not the bad ship. And the bad ship is your pirates. At the age of 13, I remember seeing a recently sunken ship. We were lucky enough not to run the pirates, but I saw floating bodies. Remember when you're 13 and you saw that and you realized that could be you? That's when it hit me. So all we do is we hope to run to a commercial ship that's passing by. And some people float for weeks and months. No food, no water. And this is normally what happens. They would sink the boat and they leave. And they mostly take the women they want to keep. What we did, we had about a day left of water and food. We were getting really close. And so we were just floating to conserve energy. And we ran into a commercial trip, so we got lucky. Now when we saw them, I got all excited because I wanted to get on board this big ship, right? And, oh, that slide didn't show. So what happened then is they didn't let us on board, but they sent down food and water. It's like a little net thing they sent down. I remember the first time I ate what I thought at the time, I guess it could be from America too, an American apple. It was red, it was big, it was juicy, and we had been rarely rationed on a little bit of rice and salt. So they called to the nearest refugee camp. And then we all celebrated. We waited until the Red Cross come out to get us. The island I went to was Pulau Bidong. It's in Malaysia because that's where we ended up with. So we're closest to that beach. So we got pulled into the river and we were admitted, given shots to make sure. And I was allowed then to send a telegram to my mom. Now I have kids now. I remember the first time they went on a sleepover. Even for one night, I can call them and FaceTime them. I'm already worried. My mom, for the first time in 11 days, got a telegram from me that said I made it. That's pretty crazy. The place I stayed at was nicknamed Hell Island. You Google it, it's on Wikipedia. At the time, it was considered to be the most heavily populated place on earth. I was one of 50,000 people in the size of a football field. 50,000 people. That's where Doan is. That's where Malaysia, and I had floated through around here. That's where we got picked up. Camp life. Most people stay there for 4 to 5 years because what happened is when you come to the refugee camp, you declare what country you're going to go to. Okay? And then, if you declare that, someone has to sponsor you. Either your family member. If not, you hope a church or nonprofit will. If not, you just wait until someone picks you up to say, yes, you can come here. So 4 to 5 years. For me, it's only 8 months because I was considered an orphan. I was 13. I was by myself. Most of the countries besides America was Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and England. So what happened then is you would then go to school 2 hours a day to learn the language and the culture where you're going to. And then you were still the same ration, food, and water. Oh man, I remember my first night I was sleeping there. And I thought there was a puppy that crawled on me. You guys, these rats are so big, of this size. This is crazy. I mean, I still have, I won't call them nightmare, but I still think about them. So, this is where I think I learned my leadership skill. I was like Lord of the Fly. I got a bunch of kids with me, and we named the rats. So, we'll go and hunt for, no, Vietnamese name, but Johnny tonight. They all look the same, doesn't really matter. Okay? So we all get sharp sticks, and until I saw the movie Lord of the Fly, but that's our living right there. That's where we were living. Then there's hurricane season. I was there in 8 months, and there's 2 big hurricanes that came through, torrential rain, flash flooding, and actually water has swept hundreds of people away from the refugee camp because there's no place for us to go. Okay? I actually lost a friend that I knew from that. And the other thing is crazy to say, but people die from falling coconuts. Because all the coconut tree, when the high wind comes, you're walking, fall on you. Actually, quite a few people die from falling coconut. But we played capture the flag, treasure hunt. We would go to the other side of the island. One thing I did was, I made friends with the Malaysian police. So my mom and I were professionals, and they spoke enough English. I did anyway. So I went to make friends with them. We do night hunt. I'm pacing through here just to give you an idea. So that's a guy that was kind of my best friend the day I left. And I remember this is how it works. Every morning, the intercom system will come on. And they will call out the name of the people who get to leave that day. Just imagine in the morning you wake up, all of a sudden they just come up, everyone get quiet, the one listen to their name. So I remember my name came up. I was really excited. And I remember feeling guilty. Right? You all do pretty well now. Some of us feel that way sometimes. I remember telling one of the adults that, can I give my spot to that guy? I remember the adult slapped me across the face and said, you do not say that to anybody. This is your chance. You get out of here. He'll get his turn when he will. It's like a daily lottery. And then you have about 15 minutes to get to stop because the boat is leaving. If you're not on it, you're not going. Process paperwork. Okay, how did I end up in freaking Minnesota? You're asking. That was freaking. That's okay, right? Okay. I actually ended up in Arkansas. So while I was at the camp, I declared, and both my aunt, who's my mom's sister, and my uncle, who's my brother's dad, had both sponsored me. But my aunt was really nice, obviously. She's more nurturing than my uncle. She wrote me letters all the time. So I had something, so then I felt close. I chose to go with her, or Arkansas. I'm sorry, Brian and a couple of people from Arkansas. Nothing against Arkansas, but it's not much better than Vietnam. I walked through farms to get to school, like, what's with this? Anyways, I came up to visit my uncle for Christmas, and I'm like, this is way better. Then I decided to move to Minnesota. So this is the map of the world, right? And Vietnam is over here, and I now living over here. That's pretty crazy, right? Oh, my younger brother came. I'll skip through it because of time. That's my younger brother. So he came 2 years later. His name is Hugh. He made the same trip, made it, ended up in Indonesia. So when he came to live with us, my aunt and uncle, who took us in, student housing, and that's where we, when I became 18, I went on our own, and I raised him. He was 8th grade, and he went to high school, and I went to school at the U in Western Minnesota. So, I'll share the story real quick. So this is where I think I learned my entrepreneurship. So I lived with my aunt and uncle, who's in the Minnesota student housing, and I was the president of the team committee, because no one else was running. My first business there was paper route. I got $15 to deliver to 500 units, like the student housing paper. And this is where I learned how to delegate. So I have a bunch of friends who want money, didn't have a job. So I pay them $3 to do the paperwork, $1 for each, 3 guys divided in the zone. I kept $12 and I paid $3 once a week. My second business was lawn care. So I got a job mowing the lawn on a Ryan Loan Mall, which I thought was pretty cool. I was only 14 at the time. And then I would water the grass all the time. And they're like, why are you doing that? Well, because the faster it grows, the faster I can cut it. And then I outsource out all the weed whipping and the hand pole mow spot to my friends. And then the third business has a babysitting business. I didn't know anything about babysitting. But I did contract somebody I knew, said, can you come in and teach a bunch of us kids CPR, because that's what you need to go get a babysitting job. So that's what I did. I went and get the job, and then my friends would do it, and I keep half. Oh yeah, during the 80s, remember breakdancing? I found a guy who knew breakdancing, and went in 50-50 with him. I'll bring you in, you do the lessons to all these kids in the student housing, and I get 50% of what you make. Okay, this is me, finally, I know, right? I was sporting the I finally became a U.S. citizen in January 2019. I remember studying for it because I was at college still. And remember the test they gave us and we had to practice? I would ask all my friends who were born here, and they got 9 out of 10 wrong. What's with that? So my dad, real quick, 20-something years. There's a Wikipedia page about my dad, if you look him up. Okay, so he won all kind of awards, and I went on his behalf to accept a lot of these awards because he was in prison. But what I want to get to on my story is that Michael said it earlier. If I can do it, anyone can do it. If you thought that was crazy, that wasn't even all of it. I've actually failed many times after I got to America. I got fired twice from my job. I don't think it was my fault, but I was fired. Divorced once. Companies dissolved or closed down. I filed BK. We all went through, right? The mortgage, because I owned my mortgage company back in the day. I had my car repossessed. Right? I mean, when you got little kids and said, Dad, what did they do? Why are they taking our car? I'd explain that. I had my home foreclosed on. And I have many investment fail where I lost money. But here's my why, and we talk a lot about it doing here, is that you got to know your why, because those are the times, if you didn't have your why, you would not be where you are. And for me, that was my first night on a Malaysian beach. After I declare, they would tell me I don't know anybody. And I found a spot on the beach that night because it was like only a couple hours since I've been here. And everyone's kind of sleeping. And I remember just finally hit me. Right? I sat there and I cried all night. An Asian man is not supposed to cry. Most men anyway, but especially Asian men. So I remember crying all night because it finally hit me. I finally realized that everyone I know and everyone I love is on the other side of the ocean. And I'm here all alone. What the heck am I supposed to do? What's my plan now? I cried and cried and cried, and I know I felt sorry for myself. And that's when I discovered what I call now, read books, there's some stuff that's said about it, is the choice theory. I believe in life, whatever we can choose. There's only 4 choices in any situation. 1 is choose to do nothing. Now, if you're happy where you're at, that's fine, do nothing. But that's also the definition of insanity, right? You do nothing, nothing's going to change. 2 is what you think. You know, if you think it, you can do it. 3 is what you do. But I believe most successful people, which is the people who are sitting here right now, that's why you're here, it's what you think and what you do. And you can change that, you can change anything. I kept thinking, am I lucky or unlucky? It's all about mindset. And I remember saying, put your freaking big boy pants on. You got people counting on you at home. You got to go figure out how to take care of yourself so you can take care of them. Okay? And my why is, I never want anyone to feel the way I felt that night. Helpless. No plan. Don't even know what the next step is. This is one of the biggest reasons I joined Club Wealth. Because trust me, guys, coaching money is not that great. but I get to share back and help people. So I believe in this: help others achieve their dreams and you achieve yours. Les Brown. Okay, win the people business. In the choice theory. That's like the coolest clock that you can have. The time keep going down and then go back up again. So is that how much time I have left?
That's right. Keep rolling along.
All right.
We're buying in a couple extra minutes because we know people are into what you're saying.
Thank you. So doing this whole journey, I describe what I call longism. Because I'm that egotistical. I believe that there's a cause and effect, and then the effect and the cause. We hear all the time, doesn't matter what happened to you, what you do with it. That's the cause effect, or the effect versus the cause. I would rather go do something about it so I can control what happened. Okay, so that's a mindset that I learned. Being proactive versus reactive. The external versus internal. We always blame somebody else. My broker didn't help me. My mortgage guy dropped the ball, so the deal didn't close. It's all about somebody else, but never about you. So I believe you cannot control what other people say, do, think, but you can control what you do, say, or think. And what I learned from my dad, especially, to being in jail all that time, which I skip over this whole section about it, is that do the right thing, even if it's not popular or easy. But do the right thing. Compete against no other but yourself. One thing that in the beginning, I'm very competitive. I can tell you that, right? If we walk back to the stage, and me and Mike O'Hellison's up here, I'm going to try to see how to be the first one to beat him. That's how competitive I am. But what I realized then is that I'm setting my bar too low. Because I'm always going to be better than somebody. But I'm going to be disappointed because there's always going to be better than me. So the only thing I can do is be a better man myself every day. A little bit better than the day before. So when my business partner Mike and Michael Hellison trying to help me come up with the title, and they love this one, which my story has nothing to do with this.
But it's a great title.
But I did figure out how to tie it together. Okay, so here it goes. I believe because all of us went through, first of all, I believe life, you hear it all the time, right, is a journey, not the destination. Because if you made it to the destination, you're dead. Right? That's why it's not the destination. So it's the journey. But most of us went through our journey and we either got hurt or disappointed, okay, failed. So we start building walls around us to protect us from being hurt. Okay? And then when you're brave enough to venture outside that wall, you put on armor because you want to protect yourself. And the armors get thicker and thicker and heavier, and pretty soon you can barely walk. You watch those old movies, those knights. Like, I don't know how the heck they can even swing the sword. So what I believe is, all about up here in the mindset, is instead of you thinking that what you're doing is keeping people from hurting you, but what you're actually doing is keeping yourself inside. You're imprisoning yourself. So shed the armor, go out there and find a warrior within you, because, and I promise you this, you will be hurt, you will fail, you will be disappointed. But one thing with my best partner Mike and I, he's more like each other's wife, right? You got the wife. So that's mine. Okay, be the husband, doesn't matter. But we talk all the time about stuff, and we always come up with crazy ideas. Okay? But the one we came up with was pretty cool, I thought, that I will use today, is that life is a cycle, right? And for me, life, I love acronyms, those who knows me, is learn, implement, fail, and evolve, and to start all over again. And you will be hurt, you will be disappointed. What happens, you're going to be stronger and stronger. You'll be the warrior that you always wanted to be without hiding behind something. I'm going to wrap up with one last comment, because I know they gave me extra time. I have not read this anywhere, so if I stole it, I'm sorry. But what I described, what I discovered through my whole journey up to today, that I want to share with you guys. And if no one out there have already said it, then it's my original one. So Michael, I get one of those quotes on the thing. Fact check me, I don't know, someone might already. Is that we cannot change our past, correct? But what if I tell you can control it? Because what you do today, tomorrow is your past. So you can control your past, because what you do today, tomorrow is your past. So control your past by doing the things you need to do today, and don't wait around. That's it for me, guys. Thank you.
So, Long, I refer to everybody here at Club Wealth as one of my friends, but legitimately, Long is one of my closer friends in the real estate industry. I first heard that story he just told you sitting in a bar in Dallas at like 1 in the morning after an ARIA networking event.
Because neither one of us drink, so we're the only sober ones.
Neither of us drink, so we're both sober. We're sitting around this bar, and I can picture the bar. And Long said the other night he didn't remember telling me this story, but I distinctly remember it, because if you've heard that story, that's powerful. Did anyone make it through that without tearing up?
No.
Really, I mean, this is one of the more powerful stories I've heard. So he's telling me this story, and I'm like I'm almost bawling in this bar in Dallas at 1 in the morning, listening to his story of where he's come from, the power inside that why, the power that drives him. I mean, really, to get up here and to share that with you guys, I hope you understand what sort of gift that truly was. Right? Is that amazing? Yeah. As Long as walking away, you don't want to stand next to me for this part. So Long is going to walk away. Long is a super humble guy. And I will say this, by the way. He doesn't know I'm going to say this either. I really think Long, he didn't even talk about his systems or anything he does to recruit and create these massive brokerages and what he does. Long truly is like the Steve Jobs of real estate. Okay? Those of you who know Long know exactly what I'm saying. He is a visionary that is 3 steps ahead. His heart is in the right place. But he's also an operator. He knows how to system. He really is one of the most fantastic people I've met. So Make sure you spend some time chatting with Long.